How far do you two go back then?
Well, I met Rick, I believe, in my final year at the University of East Anglia in Norwich, when he was just a mere timid first year.
That's it.
And I'd come back from a year
Spotty,
in Paris.
unbroken voice.
So what year were you in then?
Well, by there I was. That was
76.
That must have been, yeah.
The winter of.
So how much older than Rick are you, Arthur?
3 years.
Yeah.
Although I look older, obviously.
When you came to the house when we were tiddlers, we always remember you as Brian. When did Arthur?
Well, Brian is my real name, and I'm
Not
still
disputing
my
that.
partner, and all my close family still call me Brian. You call me
I
Brian.
call you Brian usually.
But then when I joined Equity, the Actors Union, you couldn't have two people with the same name, because presumably then if someone had just changed their name to Laurence Olivier, and then they could get a lot of gigs that they wouldn't have done otherwise. And presumably, I never found out who it was. There was a Brian Smith. So I had to write in and choose a name for myself, and my middle name's Arthur, so I went with that. Although actually I originally put down Captain Wanker, but they declined that. I don't know if there was another Captain Wanker or it just wasn't acceptable. So I became Arthur Smith, but that was my middle name, and I'd been known as Arthur at school, because Arthur's a bit, back then it was a joke name.
Yeah.
But now it's very trendy, isn't it? You can't move for Arthurs now, little baby Arthurs.
But I recall that there was a piece in the Daily Mirror with you, and you were called Arthur then.
Yeah, that's right, because I used to
What
write
was the article?
The Arthur Corner I used to write in the school magazine, in our class magazine.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was always a bit Arthur. And my granddad was Arthur, although he called himself Jim. And my uncle was Arthur, so there were a lot of Arthurs.
And he called himself Arthur, did he?
He did call himself Arthur. He was the original Arthur Smith.
So when you put the group together, you were the National Revue Company, wasn't it? That's
the Nat Revco.
Yeah.
And was that predominantly meant to be humour?
Yeah,
comedy?
Yeah.
Because when Rick ever came back, he never struck me as a brother of comedy, not taking anything away. I always thought of Rick as a brother of music.
Well, he was in charge of the music.
Well, I was the piano player in the first.
You were called Fingers, weren't you? If I remember.
Banana Fingers.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that. Banana Fingers, yeah.
But
I played a lot of wrong notes.
Has Rick got a sense of humour?
No, he finds nothing funny and has never said anything funny. No, I do. Yeah, of course he's got a sense of humour. In fact, it's his rather stern way of doing things that can be funny.
So who else was there in the National Revue Company? We've mentioned Barbara Sutton. There was Phil Nice, I remember.
Yeah, and his now
who was the
wife.
one with the raucous laugh?
Oh yeah, Adam Wyde.
Oh, Adam.
Adam
yeah.
Wyde, right.
Adam, yeah. Oh, we're still all good friends. Yeah, Adam with his famous honking laugh. Yes, and Adam was really a man. He never had nothing in his record collection post about 1948. So we used to do a lot of. Do you remember?
Irving Berlin.
Yeah. What were some of the songs?
Top Hat, White Tie and Tails.
Do you not remember the story? You met our father, Bruce Jones.
Yeah.
Now that's where Rick probably gets the sternness from. But I remember a story. One time he decided, because the traffic was getting so busy in town, that he would take the train into London, and he went in the train. I think he had his big long dress trench coat, his bowler hat, his umbrella. And he was on the train.
Adam came with him because Adam had stayed the night at our house in Sutton.
No, I thought it was an occasion where he bumped into Adam, and then Dad was getting embarrassed over this honking laugh.
He did get embarrassed.
Oh yeah.
And Dad just wanted the journey to be over.
The commuter train up from Sutton.
Well, I remember being on a tube with Adam in Paris, and he started his great honking laugh, and everyone looked round slightly alarmed. I remember. But that's genuinely his laugh, because he can't do it unless he's amused by something. Because I thought, you could use it almost because it's so ridiculous. Good. Can you do an impression of Adam's laugh? I don't think I can.
But did you then use his laugh as a gauge for the National Revue Company as to whether something was funny? That if you could get him to honk like a goose?
Well, that was always helpful, yeah. Although obviously it was better if the audience were laughing, was the main thing. Because, like I say, Adam couldn't do it at will. He genuinely had to have been amused by something to produce that loud, seal-like honk.
Yeah.
So I went along to see Pick Along a Dilligo, Rump Along a Stiltskin.
Yeah.
What other ones were there?
There was there was Ham Along a Yorick was the first one.
Swing Along a Dante.
No, yeah, that was the first.
That was
one.
the first.
Swing
I
Along
was
a
only
Dante.
in that. I wasn't in it after that.
Oh, right.
Because that was the end of your university career, and I was
Yeah.
off abroad anyway
Yeah, that's right.
after that.
Yeah.
And one, I remember a TV appearance. It was the one where you sang A Christmas Carol backwards, and it was played back, and that was
That's
on
right.
Matthew Kelly's.
Yes, that's right. I mean,
You bet.
Yeah, and because I can still do it just about. It's.
I'll tell you what. Do it then, and then straight
right, there
after
we
you've
go.
done
All right,
it, I
yeah.
will play it back just to
All
see
right.
if you've still got it.
It's Jingle Bells backwards. Els ne posona wanada rutsitian after war. E wo ulich lebonich. You try running that backwards, you'll see.
Right,
Stinobel, Stiluowe. Oh, what a nice is to rather than a one so fancy.
You'll see
Right,
what you
well,
get.
we will congratulate ourselves.
Yeah, that's right. Well, but I wasn't actually one of the ones who did it, but I just heard it so often that yeah, we also did the Canaletta Lonis. Do you remember
I
that?
remember the Calanonis. They
They
were
were-
great. They were the big. That was what people went for.
Yeah, the Canaletta Lonis.
Acrobatic troupe
Yeah.
in leopard skin leotards.
Used to bang our heads with trays, remember?
Yeah.
That was part of the gag. And do
That
rather
was at the
bad-
university. That one was it?
No, we did that.
In the
We
show.
did that in lots of the shows. I think there was a regular, the Canaletta Lonis. I think one year we did it with dustbin lids or something. And then I noticed Stomp. Remember that came not long after. So
Yeah.
really, it was our idea first.
Maybe you should revive it and put Stomp back in the bin.
Well, there was talk of us doing a Nat Revco show a couple of years ago, but it was proved a bit too complicated.
So
'cause-
go through the members, who they are and where they are now that you know
Well,
of.
Phil and Max, who live not far from here, really, up in Nunhead, who are now married and grandparents. And then Babs, who lives in France. She lives in Ivry, just south of Paris. And me. And then there was, apart from Rick, there was Barry Big Nose used to play the piano as well.
Yes.
But that was and we're still all good friends. And I was in a double act with Phil for a while called Fiasco Job. We used to do the sort of London comedy circuit. But the last show we did was called Clap Along a Curtain Call for obvious reasons. And that must have been in early 80s sometime. So
Ham and Long Yorick made it to the West End.
that's right. There's only one show though, wasn't it?
Duke of York's.
Yeah.
Didn't you do a run? I thought you had a few
Oh, maybe
shows.
we did a few, yeah. I remember, and we got called Appalling Amateur Rubbish.
By Sheridan Morley in the
Sheridan
Standard.
Morley, yeah, and I started
Reviewed
a
it.
kind of,
Has he got a sense of humour?
well, he's dead now, so no. But he, well, I took it, I got a bit annoyed with him, and when I had a column in the Stage, I'd slagged him off once or twice, but looking back at it, I shouldn't have done it, it's fair enough. I mean, I don't think it was Appalling Amateur Rubbish, it might have been a bit amateurish, but it got laughs, didn't it?
Yeah.
Now, the date just now is the 21st of August. You've got a gig at Southwark Cathedral tomorrow.
Yes.
But really, the Edinburgh Festival should be in full swing now. So,
Yeah.
what's your overview of what's happened up there? Do you think that they
Well,
could do...
there are no shows up there, obviously, and I was meant to be doing a show about France and Paris, and that got cancelled because the Fringe was cancelled. Then at one point I was going to do an outdoor walking show, but in the end there were too many regulations there. So as I understand it, the streets of Edinburgh are pretty empty at the moment, and you can't see a unicyclist or a drama student in period costume handing out leaflets. There's none of them about, whereas normally there'd be millions of them, obviously. So, and you wonder how it'll be next year. Maybe it's the turning point, because it's the biggest arts festival in the world. So let's hope it happens again next year in some form. I think it will be different in ways that we don't quite know yet.
I mean, I know Gilded Balloon and the
Yeah.
Presence and all the other organisations, they're struggling.
Yeah, well, there's sort of lots of virtual shows and whatnot, and there's the Gilded Balloon have got a whole heap of stuff of vintage shows from Leighton Live and whatnot. But well, let's hope it all happens next year. It's all been a bit of a disaster this year.
There was a rep from the Gilded Balloon. She was being interviewed by Grant Stott on Radio Scotland last week, and she was saying that they didn't have a library of footage which they would love to have put out over YouTube now, because, as I understand it, being a filmmaker, they rely on the acts to pay for filming, and these organisations are not doing it, so they don't own the stock.
Yeah.
So I've been speaking to Gilded Balloon, I've written to them and I haven't heard back yet, on how could we make it doable for acts to be filmed. Why don't these organisations have in-house filmmakers?
Yeah, you're right, they should do that on all the shows, shouldn't they? Yeah, you're right, normally, and then if you can't afford to pay for it, because it's quite pricey.
It can be.
It can be. I mean, I did, the last show I did, we got it on one just sort of phone camera, but I mean that's not quite the standard you need.
Yeah, you know, I'm a standalone. I've got my own kit. I can come out and film a few shows. So
well, I think you should, Mark.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I'm having a fag and then I'm going home.
tomorrow you're doing the
Shakespeare.
unveiling of Shakespeare's statue.
Correct.
So if Shakespeare was around today, what would his view on your performance tomorrow and on the situation pertaining to COVID be?
Well, the COVID, it's like the plague, isn't it? So he was used to that. I mean, plenty of people he knew died of the plague. But I think he would think that me and Rick were brilliant, don't you, Rick?
He'd sign you up?
He might well. He might.
I think he missed a trick with that Dancing Bear song.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Who needs money when you're funny?
Rick and Arthur, thank you very much.